No, right. See, Ryan Garcia, same thing. Ryan Garcia ain't no true fighter. He's not no true fighter at all. It's so ironic, right? It's like how one didn't even train, or now I won't say train, but that whole year off, you had one that was rehabbing, the other one that didn't rehab, he put on the shit show too. Haney put on the shit show. Ryan put on the shit show as well. But Haney was supposed to be going back to the drawing board, getting better. Did you think he got better? Absolutely not.
Mostly to the team.
Just because you add a Hall of Famer to your team don't make it's gonna make you better. I promise you that. You see what I'm saying? So hey, sometimes coaches, you don't have to be a Hall of Fame to be a good coach, man. To be a great coach. You don't have to be. You know what I mean? There's guys out there that just, hey, that's what their calling is. To be great coaches, have that great eye. Anyways, I didn't see any improvement in Ryan. And I didn't see any improvement in Ryan. I didn't see any improvement in Haney whatsoever. But let me go back to Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia don't want to be a fighter. All Ryan Garcia wants is the money. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you already know that. And Ryan didn't even want the Devin fight either. He didn't want the Devin fight, bro. That showed me last night. What he did last night, bro, not even stepping on the gas and attempting to throw one combination the whole night, bro. Are you kidding me? Like, he didn't want the Devin fight. He didn't want to revisit that. Devin, yesterday, I felt like he didn't want to fight either with Ryan Garcia. The way he was fighting, how scared he was. PTSD is a real thing in boxing. It's a real thing. And I felt that's what I saw with Devin, watching him run around the ring. Man, I was like, damn, I was like, did this dude, did he train with Usain Bolt? Who the hell he trained with? I said, he running around this ring like he crazy. I'm like, yo, settle your feet down, bro, and grow some balls, man. Grow some balls and stand there and jab it and make sure to back this guy up off of you. But nah, man, like, look, I take so much, bro. I was so angry after watching that, bro. I wasted my time watching that last night. Waste my time. And Teofimo Lopez, okay, he did his thing. But, Tio, you could have stopped Buddy. Buddy was scared of you, bro. You could have stopped, dude. You could have stepped on the gas a little bit more, but you want to play the safe route, too. You want to secure your win. It was easy. I saw you in there playing, you being Gordo in there, but, dude, you could have stepped on the gas, too, and could have went for it. It could have, brought some attention to the show. Oh, good boxing. Tremendous. But there was more that he can do, too. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody off the cuff. Everybody. That whole show was trash. All the fighters on there, they don't have the passion, bro. They don't have the desire, bro, at all. Everybody is spoiled nowadays. These fighters are all spoiled. And it's all to y'all man that y'all love. All of y'all owe it to y'all man that y'all love. All those guys out there, all the people that love this man. Y'all owe it to them. I ain't say nothing.
Okay.
I ain't say no.
All right. Time to get down to the Mr. GLOAT podcast. And what you viewers hear there was Timothy Bradley talking about the fight, the characters from Times Square. So technically, there's nothing much you can say about that other than Timothy Bradley's upset. Let's be honest, Shane Mosley was there. Hulk Hogan was there. Floyd Mayweather was there. A lot of people were there. Even though Hulk Hogan has nothing to do with it, but he was there. But when you actually look at it from a perspective, it's just bad. Because you look back at it, and hearing him say that Garcia was there for the money, he didn't want to fight Haney, almost like how Haney didn't want to fight his opponent that night. It makes you wonder, well, we were supposed to have those two have a rematch together, but now it's over. Like, Haney's won, Garcia lost. The problem is, yeah, it is possible because maybe he didn't want to fight. He didn't want to win the fight. He didn't want to fight Haney again. It's possible. You look back at it, it is what it is. All I have to say, guys, about this before we get to our topic we want to talk about, there's nothing I'm going to talk about for May the 3rd, but there's a lot of crazy information. Like, if he was there for the money but not winning, what was the point? Because there was information of video that was recorded inside his van that he was actually bawling and crying and upset, frustrated that he lost the fight. There was cameras at the time that were there after the fight. So Garcia did felt sympathy for his loss. Here's the thing. The fight card was so bad. You had so much stuff. And guys, when looking back at it, Haney and Jose set the record for the lowest punches thrown landed in boxing history in a 12-round fight, breaking John Real Casamaro's record. Guillermo Rigondeaux, they did a few years ago, breaking the 12-round record for the lowest amount of punches landed or thrown. Yeah, you look at that fight and know how that crazy fight was, and then this fight is even more boring. Yeah, I decided to change my rankings. I decided to say, well, the first match with Raito Tatsumi was a 4 out of 10. Teofimo Lopez, I still say that's a 3 out of 10. Devin Haney, I'm sticking it with a 1 point to 0 points, meaning it's instead of saying a 1/2 star, we're giving it 0 stars. Not a good match. At least the Garcia fight and Rolando fight was better, but yeah, it was still a 1 point match, 1/2 star. It was a match that took some time. It had some evenness, but guys, here's the problem. Garcia thought to himself that, hey, after 7 rounds, I got stuff done here. The thing is, guys, I did saw Garcia putting interesting work in. He had round 1, got knocked down round 2, but he did come off in a few good rounds. Even though he wasn't himself in round 3, 4, and 5, he still won those rounds. Round 6, Rolando. And round 7 looked like a Garcia round. It had some decencies with it. Almost. And I did give it to him. And I was like, okay, well, Garcia can outbox with a couple more points and probably win the match. Yeah, what we saw in those last 5 rounds from round 8 to round 12 and seeing Rolando get him in round 8 and then dominate the last 4 rounds with ease, it makes you wonder, yeah, did Garcia fix the fight? It just goes to show you where you have rich people there, no fans watching on TV screens on the other side of Times Square, fights, riots, buildings, everything else there with VIPs and only promoters being there for the show. Yeah, it just questions you. And when people are promoting the show with a still image of the crowded people that were there, and you get what we saw there, yeah, you're right. I do question that, and you look back at it, it was bad. Yeah, you look at it all, this is definitely a straight-up F-. One of the worst pay-per-view shows in boxing history. From the first match being a 4 out of 10, second match being a 3 out of 10, the others 0 and a 1. Right, that's a total of 8 points out of 40 points. If this was a grade for points grades for a test or a pop quiz, this would be a straight up F-. Even Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret could call this an F-, even though any of his pay-per-view shows on Wrestling with Regret have even been F- or even A+. So I question that. But yeah, again, I haven't seen his channel in over a year and a half, so I don't know what shows he's graded for A's or other F's, so who knows? But yeah, looking back at it, it was bad. But it is what it is. And guys, I said before, the Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez fight has already been on high alert. It's been stated on September the 12th. It's going to fight in Las Vegas, Nevada for almost Canelo Alvarez's 20th year in boxing. Well, maybe 19 years, 11 months, almost a month before. Like, hey, we can say postpone a fight for next month in October. That'll be awesome. But that's not going to happen. But guys, the real reason I'm here, and it's been over almost 9 minutes since I did this podcast, we are reviewing May the 4th, 2025, the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, by the Nevada Athletic Commissioner, by promoter Bob Arum, matchmaker Brad Goodman, and timekeeper Aldo Galvin and Jim Caven, with doctors Tristan Cooper, Vicky Mazzarano, David Watson, and finally Damon Zavala. Live on ESPN Knockout, ESPN Plus, and Panama Telemetro Channel 13. So there's a lot of interesting things here, guys, and with only more than, well, technically there's only 7 fights on the show. Originally there was supposed to be 1 fight that was supposed to be active at the time, but yet again, there was actually 1 fight, because after the fight there was actually some informations or videos, or I looked up BoxRec, there's 1 fight that never happened, and for some reason it was there, and it was just a question mark. It never happened. So I did question some problems, to be honest, but everything else, can't say much about it. Guys, the show, I wouldn't really say the show had a lot of interesting things that go on. But as we can do, guys, I do like to get through the first 4 fights quickly. The first fight with Reyes Alim defeats Rudy Garcia in a unanimous decision of judges 98-92, 97-93, and 99-91, all favoring to the winner by unanimous decision. But here's the thing, guys. Everything else, Reyes Alim, can't say much about him. As a guy, 34 years old, he was in a top contention, but after his loss against Sam Goodman in June of 2023, which was a split decision, but it just cost him a whole year hiatus. And he did come out in 2024, win a fight against a nobody, and he comes against this fight again. While Rudy Garcia, on the other hand, like he's now have 2 wins already, but with 21 wins, 1 loss, and even though can't say much about him, even Rudy Garcia, no relationship to any other Garcia. There's so many Garcias out there. I don't know who is relative and who's sibling. I don't know who Roberto Garcia is. Roberto Garcia was a great fighter back in the old days, but I don't know if he's even a family member of Ryan Garcia. I actually thought several years ago, I thought Danny Garcia and Mikey Garcia were both brothers. There's so many Garcias out there in the world today. I don't even know who's siblings and who's who. It's that ridiculous. And it really confuses me because there's so many Garcias out there. I can't even tell who's who. It's so ridiculous. It's crazy. But yeah, his competition of fights in today's world have not been good as well. So, and the fight itself, I can't say much about it. It was a long fight. That's about it. The second fight on the show was actually Art Barrera Jr. taking on Juan Carlos Guerrera Jr. Mostly Art manages to do some interesting stuff in the show, as mostly I really can't say much of saying if it was good or not, other than he did do some interesting things to put himself in the competition for battling his way into a lot of, well, can't say much about it yet, but yet again, he has a lot of decencies of a great fighting champion. I guess he is a young person. Well, when I say young, I mean young. Like he's 19 years old. He's already into a little bit of an interesting start here. He's ranked 84 in the welterweight. And when I watched the fight, there were some great moments. Like the first round started out small, and then the second round, he started out trying to hold himself together because Guerrero Jr., Guerrero, the man from Mexico that has a record, what's his record? Record of 6 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. But nothing much about him. But yeah, Art Barrera did manage to pull out something there. It's like one moment in the beginning part of the second round, like he did try to attack Barrera Jr. much in the fight. But did hold himself together, laying on punches and big, good shots in round 2. And even in round 3, he started putting himself together. By the way, the commentators at the time were Bernardo Usuno and Mark Kriegel. Guys, like I said before, this is Top Rank ESPN, but there's a lot of commentators in other areas of Showtime and HBO back in the old days and other channels being broadcast to other places. So it's not like how WWE would broadcast shows from Monday Night Raw to SmackDown, or even WrestleMania. They put one full show to, they're going to do commentate SmackDown to do commentate Raw, but we also have Spanish announcers. So those things confuse me a lot. And then you look back at it, it's like, yeah, this is confusing. So I can't get to the commentary stuff because it's just a pain in the butt. But yeah, as said, Guerrero managed to go through in round 3 and round 4. And surprisingly, I wouldn't say it was an entertaining fight, but watching a 6-round fight just to go by this fast, I always get pleased to watch those type of fight rounds just to see what can be to improve. Guerrero Jr. couldn't handle himself as much in round 5, and his body just seemed like he wanted to give up, but just go the full distance, even though he knows this was just a guy just doing a good job than him. Every time he tries to go for a wild punch, like one time in the last 20 seconds, Barrera tries to jab him on, just staying with him, and then Barrera just throws a wild right and completely misses. But yet again, you got to do something considering you are a journeyman fighter at that moment, and the undefeated fighter is just becoming a young greenhorn. So you have to do something. But watching that 6-round fight, him coming in, attacking Barrero and throwing on the clinch there at one moment at the 1 minute mark with 2 minutes left of the fight. And then he starts hitting him with these crazy power punches, but the ref stops it before the damage got worse, which, again, with only 1 minute and 40 seconds left, I wouldn't really say that's much of a win there. But again, it was a knockout win. Can't say much about that. But yeah, speaking about Japanese fighting, we can also talk about Mikito Nakano. By the way, guys, in BoxRec, as of, yesterday, guys, as recording this, after my last podcast yesterday ago, Mikito Nakano has been rated as the highest trending person in BoxRec. He has been getting over 40 hours of trending of him being a top person. But I have a feeling, because after reviewing this, because today it is Monday the 5th right now, as it is, what time is it? 8:30 p.m. right now. He was yesterday or so on some days ago, several hours ago, and even around 12 o'clock a.m., and after the show ended last night, he was rated as the highest person with the most followers in history. But as of right now, Ramon Cardenas has 108 followers, but 42 after he's been gaining 42 followers after 24 hours of trending. Even Mikito Nakano has 134, but unfortunately, he's only gained 40 followers in the last 24 hours. Even Rafael Espinoza has gained 20, but he's at 460. And a couple other guys known as Emiliano Vargas has gained 20 followers right now, and he's at 450. And he already scored an amazing second-round TKO win against Juan Leon, which, to be honest, watching that second round, and I'll be honest, guys, I will say, though, Mikito Nakano in his 4th-round knockout win against Pedro Marquez and Emiliano Vargas' win in round 2 against Juan Leon were pretty good. And I can see why there's a lot of followers following these fighters right now with their big wins. You got to put those fights together, or else you're not going to be known as much. So it's pretty good. Also, it's kind of weird because Artur Beterbiev with 2,955, he is rated the 5th highest of the most followers after 24 hours of trending right now at 8:30 p.m. with 10 followers, which is interesting because I guess they're building him up, because I think we're getting rumors that he's actually getting built up for something, but we're just going to wait and see what happens. But yeah, the followers have been there right now, so can't say much about it. I will say, though, if we don't mind trying to push off time here, because, let me look up Mikito Nakano. Yeah, Mikito Nakano. This was actually a fight after Mikito Nakano was fight after Barrero fight and a Vargas fight against Juan Leon. So that was the 3rd and 4th fight, but yeah, looking at the fight and looking at Mikito, he has a lot of interesting stuff here. As a 12-0 undefeated fighter in Japan right now in the featherweight, guys, these Japanese fighters, even though Raito Tatsumi wasn't always that entertaining in his first fight in Times Square, at least him and his opponent, journeyman opponent, at least they both put themselves together in an okay 6-round competition, which is like, there's nothing interesting about it, but I did give it 2 stars out of 5, which is probably the best match of the entire show in Times Square, because it was 6 rounds and Mike Tyson was commentating that fight from all the way from start to finish. And even though Mike Tyson didn't commentate everything from the other 12-round fights in Times Square, at least that fight had more entertainment than anything else in Times Square. But yeah, my point is these Japanese fighters have put themselves in a huge craziness, because like Nakano comes out, hits his opponent, and then in round 2, his opponent Marquez somehow actually stumbled or something. Like with only 1 minute 30 seconds into the second round, he throws a wild punch for some reason. He goes to a right and then hits a left right into the gloves of Marquez, but then he stumbles he actually hesitates and takes a knee. So I did question that for some reason, but yet again, but then he started to hurt him even more after that with wild punches. Like, he even gives him a crazy little punch for some reason. Like, it's almost like that he accidentally elbowed him in the back of the head for some reason when Marquez missed some wild punches at 2 minutes of the fight of the second round. But for some reason, I couldn't say the knockouts were clean, but yet again, it was a surprising fight. And he came into round 3 and like he comes into round 3 at the first minute and hits him again and brings down Marquez. Yeah, the fans might have been getting their money's worth. I couldn't see much of the attendance at the time or even knowing, and I'm actually looking at the highlights of the fight right now, trying to see if there's any crowd attendance I can see, but I can't see much, just like the Saudi Arabia thing. Also, the fight ended where at 1 minute and 30 seconds of the 4th round, he angles a body punch right to the belly with a left and then throws a couple more punch combinations and brings him down again. And then he gets back up, hits him with body punches, misses again, swings a missed left and goes down with one knee with 1 minute left of the 4th round. And that's how the fight ended. Can't say much about that fight, but looking at how crazy it is that these Japanese fighters are doing a lot of crazy things. As for the other fight as well, for Fernando Vargas and his round 2 TKO win against Juan Leon, I'll say though, these first 4 professional fights on the show are pretty that damn good. I can't say much about it for what it is. Like even Juan G. Leon had no business being there in the first round. He was already getting attacked, beaten up, not even 1 minute into the first round, and started getting punched and even a little bit outboxed with some stuff. But coming into round 2, when you had him trying to square off for some reason, he's giving out these left punch jabs and hooks and such. Like, Vargas was hurting him a lot and brings him down with a little bit of a knockout in the second round. And then comes back and just starts trying to hammer him away with punch combination with left, right, and down goes Leon again, and the referee stops it even when he tried to get back up, but for all that. But yeah, it seemed like the fans got their money's worth. There was a lot of crazy stuff there, and even though the first knockdown looked like a slip for some reason, because Leon might have slipped for some reason, everything about this fight, I really can't say much about it. It had a lot of interesting stuff. But all in all, it was an interesting performance for what it was. And I kind of enjoyed it. So, yeah, it was pretty good. So, guys, the third and final match on the show. Guys, I don't want to talk about this one because there's nothing interesting about this fight. So, with Mikito Nakano is now 13-0 as a southpaw fighter. He's ranked number 7 in the featherweight. As for Emilio Vargas, he picks up his 14th win, ranked number 57 as an orthodox 21 years old, at rank 57 the super lightweight. Mikito Nakano, on the other hand, keep that in mind, only for 7 years at pro. He's 29 years old, so good luck with him. And, Art Barrera, like I said, 19 years old, 84 in the welterweight, but still give him time to think about it. So it is interesting to see what we might get ourselves into. Rohan Polanco versus Fabian Andreas Maidana. WBO Intercontinental Welterweight Championship title fight here. This fight really doesn't have nothing interesting to talk about. Guys, I can say boring stuff about this fight, but there was a lot of interesting things happening here, such as how Polanco, or whatever you like to call him, was hurting his opponent in the first round. Like, he was angling him in corner ropes and such. I didn't have a lot of notes to write about that fight much because, yet again, there were times that he was hurting him. He was throwing interesting punches. Well, to be honest, actually, like let me correct myself here. So Maidana was wearing white clothes and such at time, Trunks. A little bit of colored red and the blue and white for Polanco, or Bohan, if you like to call him, or Rohan. Mostly, I really couldn't say much about it because even though he was wearing the Dominican Republican, seeing how he almost got a little bit of attacked in the second round by Maidana a little bit when he started to attack in formation. And there were times in the fight that felt interesting, but I wouldn't say there was running away other than just standing still a little bit and such, but yet again, it wasn't like William Skull and Canelo Alvarez, but there were times that I think it looked like Rohan was trying to handle himself as taking it easy in the fight. There was some dirtiness in the fight where they had a little bit of body punches, but, well, not much, but yet again. But even though after they were going through, because I was thinking to myself, okay, they're just going to go 10 rounds of distance here. But yet again, but there is one interesting moment, I will say, though, because he had some interesting moments. I wouldn't say every round was boring. It was just a squash match. Like, Rohan wanted to finish his fighter off. He wanted to hurt him as much as he can. I think he wanted to end the fight. Like, he was cornering him in the ropes at one point in round 6 or so. By the way, guys, I don't have any notes written about the fight because, yet again, it had nothing to do with it. And by the way, there was one moment in round 7 I did wrote down where at 1 minute and 10 seconds, Rohan is cornering him to a rope, and he sets up one punch right to the belt line, which you can almost write it off as like, if the referee wanted to say, don't do that, unless if he actually thought that would have been a low blow. Like even in fast motion, because I even had to wind down the clock and even just start pressing frame by frame to see the replay at my own eyes of my own replay. And it did hit the belt line. I almost thought it would have been almost like just like what happened to Alexander Usyk and Darren Dubois in round 5 of their first fight. It was crazy because it was crazy. Let me check my notepads. Was it 1 minute? Yeah, 1 minute and 10 seconds. Like, he threw the left body punch, which made Maidana turn this way a little bit at one moment. And then he sets up a right punch to the body where somehow he actually hits a left body punch and then turns his left glove to try to block Maidana to just shove his glove so he can set up another body punch with his right, which actually hit part of below the belt. Like, from this point right here, he hit him right here a little bit, which hit Maidana, which is crazy. So I wouldn't say it was a dirty fight, but yeah, again, it is hard to understand if you're a referee in that situation. But he was cornering him so much and hitting him so much, even the 7th round with heavy shots with 30 seconds left. I don't know how the heck he even stayed there for a while. For a few other rounds from round 8 or round 9, we were taking it easy because I guess Rohan decided, well, he might as well try to win the round. He was winning every single round. All referees gave it to him. I gave it to him. But I will say, though, the end of the 10th round was crazy. He sets him up so much, cornering him to the ropes again. There was a moment I thought Maidana hit him in a low blow again and so on. Like I said, there were body punches, but depends. But with only 30 seconds left of the fight, he comes in. He's trying, like Maidana is trying his best to survive, stay alive in this fight. And all we're seeing is Rohan throwing everything, bamming him. And a right punch hits in the body and Maidana goes down with 35 seconds left of the final round. Oh, it was crazy. And he even hit him again with 10 seconds left. Like, Maidana's blocking. He's trying to get out of the way. Punch is thrown. The referee had to get out of the way. And he's like angling every single punch. I will say, though, it was crazy. Now, I wouldn't say the fight was entertaining, but depending on how crazy Rohan wanted to end the fight and Alan Huggins, I was like the referee that day. I can't say much if you thought he would have stopped the fight, but you know what? Seeing that fight go the distance like that, that's crazy. Crazy. Anyway. All right. So now with only 30 minutes of podcast, man, I'm getting my money's worth. So guys, we've already watched a bunch of interesting stuff here. And I will say, though, this show for Bob Arum Promotions has put out everything. He's put out knockouts. He's put out drags. This is something that never happened to Saudi Arabia or Times Square. It's so ridiculous. Now, even though the Rohan Polanco, not much. Rasim, well, I did just ignore it, even though it is what it is. But yeah, again, I just didn't want to get to all this stuff. I know there were some moments of fights where dirtiness, this or that. But, well, I can't really say much about it, even though Emiliano Vargas was already an NABF Junior Super Lightweight champion. We are a WBO Intercontinental Welterweight Championship. But what about the WBO World Featherweight Champion Rafael Espinoza defending it against Edwin Vasquez, a guy that's been ranked way over high. And as of right now recording this, he's ranked number 64 in the featherweight, but a little bit higher than that. But yet again, looking at what it was, I will say though, Rafael, I wasn't really expecting this fight to go a good few rounds. Even though, like I said before in the last episode, I did some days, like yesterday, when I said I thought maybe Inoue can score a 7th round TKO win against Cardenas, but Cardenas had other plans. I was thinking to myself, maybe Edouard could actually pull something off. But this fight does give you a little bit of an extra footing here because I look at it and the fight went this way. So Espinoza starts off the fight with a little bit of tap dancing once in a while. He throws in everything. He ends off the round. And then in round 2, he hurts out his opponent. In some cases, there were moments in the first couple rounds where Espinoza was actually... well, technically, I can't find my notes, but yet again, when you look back at it, here's the thing. When watching the fight, Edwin Vasquez, he was just there to just put the money in, and Rafael was going for an easy win here, get him back in the ranks or something, defend the title, do anything. And the thing was, Espinoza at this moment, this is already his third, now his 4th title defense, so... third title defense after a year and a half since his win. So the thing is, his rematch fight against Robese Ramirez last December was a far better fight. This fight, it was just a warm-off fight just to give him a little bit of a heads up or so. He was coming into that as much as he could. As for Espinoza being in white, and Vasquez being in black trunks at this moment. And the fight was squash. And people don't like to see squash matches. They like to see other fighters try to get even with the other fighter and get themselves together and see a close fight. And I'm sure people didn't want to see it to end in a draw, just like F.A. Ajagba or Martin Bakoli, but it is what it is. You look back at it, and it is what it is. I wish I could continue with a lot of the stuff, talk about other things, or moments where like Espinoza was fighting dirty, he was clinching this or that, or even wrestling him and headlocking him in the 4th round at one moment in the 4th round. And they started hurting each other, and the referee, even during where there's a tiny clinch, the referee was going to come in and say break, and he was going to go forward, but then he backed away when Espinoza threw a right uppercut. But Vasquez, even though there are times that he was landing punches, but he wasn't really a household name. Almost like Rob Salkis taking on Danny Garcia. He wasn't even a household name. And Edwin Vasquez, just like Rod Salka, Right, Gradsalka, before he took on Danny Garcia, he had less than 20 wins and 3 knockouts. And Edwin Vasquez had 17 wins and 4 knockouts. It's ridiculous. But yeah, there were times that and the thing is, Vasquez was such a short person. He was so friggin' short. Espinosa was like Godzilla. He was like a friggin' Godzilla. Like 5'7" Vasquez takes on Espinosa 6'1". Jesus. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's 6 inches taller than him. It's so ridiculous. But anyway, they go to the 7th round. He's angling huge cuts, body punches, corners him to one of the ropes. Referee steps in with 1 minute and 15 seconds left of the fight. And you know what? Looking back at it, I really couldn't say much about that. There are some interesting things about that, but you know what? I was almost saying that was a pretty... I know that Espinosa is trying to get himself a good record here and trying to just to up the antes a little bit, but even though he is 31 years old, I don't think he has a lot to take in his career. He's been in it for 12 years. I could see him be in a good boxing career for a few more years by 2028. But yet again, he might not get somewhere good after that. Depending if he steps up a weight class by 2027, who knows? I can see him get good title wins in 2028, but I'm sure after that, I just don't see him. He might as well retire from boxing, I guess, or so. He's already went past. He's already had 104 rounds right now in his career after 27 fights. He's made over 100 rounds, 23 knockouts, 27 wins, ranked number 1 in the featherweight right now. So, he got the job done, and that's all you have to say about it. But I wish we would have had a lot more of a better work than other on the lines of I can't even talk straight. Oh boy, you know what? To be honest, all I can say about this is just try to learn from your mistakes. That's all that matters. So finally, from San Antonio, Texas, Ramon Cardenas takes on Naoya Inoue for all the super bantamweight title matches. ESPN has put the betting odds as a plus 1,800 underdog for Cardenas as a hometown of San Antonio, Texas in the USA. Naoya Inoue hasn't boxed for a while in America. Since June 19th, 2021 against Michael Desamarinas in the Virgins Hill, Las Vegas hotel was his last great win. So him coming back after a good amount of 4 years, even probably after the Olympic, almost 4 years from June the 19th of 2021 to May the 4th, 2021. That's pretty good. ESPN says in his last 10 fights, via win, knockout, he's a 6,500 minus favorite of a win. So I can't say much about that. But yeah, the fighters went on for themselves, and Cardenas, a guy that barely has won fights right now in 2024 and so on, with Brian Acosta in 2025 last February. So he's barely squeaked off wins after wins in his career. But he came into this first round, and so this is what I wrote. So Naoya Inoue is pulling himself from one end to another. Like they're both studying each other. He's going around clockwise. Both guys are going clockwise for each other, stunning each other in the first round. Mostly stunning each other with this or that. Cardenas is starting off throwing jabs, and there's times that 1 minute of the fight, we do see Inoue throwing his own counterattacks, putting in a little bit of other jabs here or there. The first round wasn't really much other than Inoue just successfully getting successful jabs and being a little bit of an aggressor of the fight with jabs. Cardenas did have moments with it, but yet again, nothing much to say about that. The first round ends without nothing going wrong, except there was one moment where well, I really can't say much about the first round. There's nothing. Like, I guess the last seconds of the fight, Cardenas did finally start trying to throw jabs, but then we got a little bit aggressive there. Naoya, in a way, got too aggressive in the final seconds of the fight and started attacking him back with jabs. So, yeah, I can't say much about that. Am I right? But then we come to round 2, and this is the moment. By the way, guys, I know I haven't been talking about commentaries, but I'm already going to take a hiatus from that because I really don't care about commentators right now. I'm just going to do that for UFC classic shows as I'm doing. But yeah, the fight starts out interesting. But there is one more. I am going to talk about one corner ring moment of this fight, which keep that in mind. So yeah, they start off the fight with 30 seconds in the fight, and Cardenas is actually getting a little bit of offensive done with jabs here or there. They are both trading punches for each other, and in a way, I will say, though, is starting off strong. He's putting himself in okay situations. And around a minute of the second round, Cardenas is throwing jabs at him, and in a way, he's trying his best to block it. He's throwing jabs back with left punches. Both great orthodox fighters putting themselves in a heavy situation here. And as they're just both putting themselves together, like as they're slowly just gaining just extra rounds, because at this moment you have to put those rounds in as best you can. You have to take those rounds for perspective. With 45 seconds left of the second round, Inoue's jabbing him forward, pushing him back to the ropes, bounces him back to the ropes at one moment, and trying his best to keep himself alive in the fight at this moment. Cardenas pushes him back away from the ropes. And then they go to another section of the ropes with 25 seconds left. Inoue comes in. He's trying his best to settle himself together. And then I wrote, he jabs him with one punch, right, and then he jabs him with a right punch, bam, hits him with a left punch while Cardenas' arms are like this. And then Cardenas comes in. He tries to swing left while going back. Cardenas ducks, swings, misses, and Cardenas swings out while ducking his body with a looping left right into the noggin of Naoya Inoue. And I swear to God, as he goes down, I saw one guy with a full white beard that looks like Colonel Sanders, and his mouth was like, and his mouth open like. And there's it's so ridiculous. But yeah, he gets back up. Well, not yet, because Inoue does get back to his knees a little bit, standing on his knees. He looks at the referee at 4, 5. He's paying attention to the count. He goes to 6. He gets up on his first knee at 7. The referee counts to 8 as he's already up, tells him he's ready, gives him that, and they continue. And here's the thing. With 5 seconds left, because he gives him this, at 7 to 6 seconds of the fight, he picks his glove up like this, continues, grabs his arms, and his glove says ready with 5 seconds, 4, and then continues the fight with 4. Cardenas gets back. He's trying to charge him with 3 seconds, and then the bell rings with 2 seconds left on the clock. I question that. Why did the bell ring with 2 seconds on the clock? Yeah, I actually questioned that when I actually saw that. I even tried to put a stopwatch and see what the time was, and it was actually 2 seconds. I don't know why that was the case. I don't know why, but it didn't make sense. I really questioned that. But yeah, by round 3, Cardenas is trying to now fight him on. They do get their first clinch in, while there's a moment where he's actually trying to clinch, Cardenas is trying to throw jabs, grab him by the head, and then punch, hugs, and the referee tells the break, this or that, warns him about this, and then gives him this, and he even gives Inoue this move like that, both telling them don't do that, even though that was the first clinch of the entire match there. But they get on, they continue, but yet again, I wouldn't say it was a dirty fight, but yet again, at the end of the day, not every fight in 12 rounds is going to be a clean fight, which might be perspective, but yeah, at the end of the day, they went on, and Inoue, on the other hand, did pot a little bit of interesting competition here at one moment, because Cardenas came in and started to attack him. He was putting in good offensive moments there, and I didn't see a lot of punches getting landed by each fighter. There were some interesting jabs that were getting landed by Cardenas at that moment, even early in the first seconds of that third round, and starts putting in punches and this or that. He put in a lot of surprising work there with interesting punches, but a lot of them were punched to the glove. But yeah, all in all, he was putting a surprising work there and an interesting work ethic. Even when coming into 30 seconds left of the round, they start swinging wild punches at each other. And then Espinoza, I'm sure he was already there celebrating his win, but not realizing Cardenas was in trouble. He started throwing punches back at Inoue, and Inoue throws punches and misses. But they do put themselves together and gets a heavy shot at one point. But yeah, the third round was pretty close. I actually thought Cardenas won that round, but to be honest, all judges had it favored for Inoue. So that's a question, but it is what it is. And then you go to round 4, and we're already getting a little bit of interesting calls for anything that's going on. They even go back and show the replay of the punch of that round. They show us a replay of a target symbol, of a target sign going straight to Inoue's face like this, and then it shows the punch that showed, which was actually the punch about Luis Nure fight. So they showed us that. And then they showed us the knockout of Cardenas, which is, okay, not bad. But they get into the round, pushes on. But at this moment, Inoue is just taking his time. He's just trying to learn from his mistakes, take it easy. But yeah, again, you can't be easy on a fighter. Even one person said in the comments, just because you're a monster doesn't mean it's an easy win. You have to exploit your demons. There might be truth to that. But yeah, Inoue is scaring him off at one moment with 2 minutes of the fight of the 4th round. There are punches traded with each other, and Inoue is putting out everything he's done in this moment. And surprisingly, he was doing an interesting job. And even by round 5, Cardenas is trying his best to stay alive with combination punch, because Inoue was just throwing out combinations in the 5th round, which, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't say there was much entertainment about to talk about the 5th round, because at this moment, I'm more curious to talk about the 6th round and the 7th round and the 8th round more than any other rounds, because like round 4 and 5 were just easy steps to try to get Inoue back to place. And there was moments that Inoue was trying to cover out, trying to corner him to a corner or so. But then you get to round 6 and Cardenas is attacking, and then Inoue is attacking. When you have Cardenas and there's some punches that he's getting landed on. And I'll say, though, there are some surprising moments. Like, for instance, with only 2 minutes left of the fight of the 6th round, Cardenas is stumbling his body. Every time Inoue gets a little bit of a punch, and every time he swings and misses, he's almost look like he's about to stumble. Like it just seemed like Cardenas was a little bit unorthodox. Like, his body and his movement just seemed a little bit weird, but yeah, you have to do what you have to do. But yeah, Inoue was putting out interesting work until 1 minute, 30 seconds of the fight, where Cardenas misses, and then Inoue sets up punches and punches, and then corners him to the rope and throws out punch after punch after punch. And I swear to God, as it cuts to as the camera shows, as the close-up camera shows Inoue throw multiple punches, you get to see a corner of the ring shows a guy sticking his head past the corner rope because you can't see him. So he has to turn his body like he's that Jack Nicholson guy from The Shining doing that here's Johnny reference. He's like, which is kind of creepy, to be honest. But yeah, he corners him to the rope so much, and he punches him back and forth, and it was round 6 was one so surprising, crazy round. Even Cardenas got out of the rope and started punching him back, cornering him through this or that, and just trying to recover. Like, the 6th round was crazy. Like, he's punching him from one end to another, and he was angling so many punches in the final seconds of that round. It was ridiculous. Even showing replays of heavy punches, it was crazy. And then they even show one interesting punch for anything else. They go back to round 2, but round 7 is what got crazy because he comes in, they are angling each other, and and when I say angling each other, I mean that they're I'm not saying that they're like, when I say angling each other, I almost say that like they're swapping each other. It's like they're swapping or something like that. Like they're angling their punches into jabs or this. They do cross this, jab, cross, jab, punch, like angling punches. That's what I'm saying, like angling each other. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not perfect. Like that's what Inoue is doing a lot. Because he goes for this, he punches, but then Cardenas throws his punch and he goes for cross, jab, and then sometimes they go for uppercuts at some moments. So technically that's when I say the word. Every time I say angling each other, that's what I meant. But yeah, with 1 minute 35 seconds left of the 7th round, there's one moment where he's cornered the rope, he's sitting down on the top bottom rope, and then he backs away and goes back to the corner rope again, and then he's ducking this or that. And then suddenly Cardenas goes for a wild left uppercut, misses completely. But then he does manage to connect a punch right to the chin, hits Inoue while Inoue gets a body shot a little bit, which backs Cardenas. And the commentators point out that, oh, that punch really hurt Cardenas. Did no one even saw the punch that hit Inoue? Yeah, I question that. But yeah, he goes on, punches him more times. And at this moment, like he even tries to corner Inoue and tries to put him through the ropes, but that was a fail. And then with 30 seconds left of the 7th round, he comes in, punches back, left. He goes left, left again, punch this, punch. And then he goes for multiple punches. Like he goes for, like he throws 4 left punches. He goes for this, and then bam, and then boom. Like he angled the punches so wild. Like his 4 punches were like this. It was boom, boom, and then boom, right to Cardenas. And then Cardenas stumbles. I don't know how Inoue could do that with his left hand like that, angling his arm like that to throw 4 punches to Cardenas. Cardenas would stumble, but the ref would call him a knockout, only for Inoue to continue punching him for 10 seconds left of the fight. And then the cornerman, as the round ends, the cornerman of Cardenas' cornerman tells him that he's going to give him one more round because he's not doing the job. He has him. He's going to win. He should. So he's going to give him one more round. Yeah, even commentators point that out. But to be honest, Inoue is going to end the fight. With 30 seconds into the fight, nothing crazy happens until he pushes Cardenas, goes for right punches, left punches, back to the corner rope again, and the referee stops it with about 45 seconds, and that's the end of the fight. Yeah, I will say though, guys, this was a pretty shocking fight to see how Cardenas knocked out Inoue like that. But I think looking back at it, I'm sure he was more than happy to knock out Inoue, because a person that can knock out Inoue just for the heck of it, that's a pretty interesting accomplishment. But I will say, though, this fight was so good for what it is. I just wish the fight had some interesting stuff. All in all, I will give this match an 8 out of 10 just because it might have not been the upper story than the Lewis-Nuri fight. But all in all, it had a lot of moments where it was a more entertaining fight. And seeing how this main event ended more better than William Skull and Canelo Alvarez, and having better stuff than Times Square, like you had Raito Tatsumi open up the first match on May the 2nd, Times Square, and put out a good 6-round fight, which was far entertaining than anything else. And then have 2 Japanese people in America with Naoya Inoue and Mikito Nakano putting out great knockout performances in this show, and other moments with Rafael Espinoza and also Vargas and Barrera Jr. This was a far better show than anything else. And I get to admit it. It was pretty good, and I loved every bit of it. Well, not every bit of it, but not everyone's perfect. I can almost give this a B+ grading for the fun of it. Maybe an A-. But all in all, You people decide what you think in the comments. All I can say about this is, considering I didn't have a lot of information to talk about this show, because at the end of the day, I enjoyed it. I loved it for what it was, and to be honest, I'm happy to get it over with. But we hope you viewers enjoyed this episode. I'm happy to go through with this, and I'm just happy that I'm done. So thank you, viewers, for watching this episode. With everything going on, congratulations, Naoya Inoue, for being ranked back to number 1 of the greatest pound-for-pound fighter of all time, even though he doesn't have a lot of followers than Canelo. And Cardenas ranked number 14 in the rankings. Well, you know what? Let's not hate this guy. This guy did something as well that a lot of fighters could not do, and that's knocking out Brian Acosta. I meant, to be honest, Brian Acosta. It's kind of weird that Brian Acosta knocked down Cardenas in round 7 in their fight 3 months ago, and then he does it in the second round because Naoya Inoue knocks him down as well in round 7 in his fight, which is kind of crazy if you point that out. But seeing him actually knock out Inoue in the second round, that's pretty crazy, considering how his record and resume is. That's crazy. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching this podcast. And with that being said, we'll see what happens next time. Can't wait to watch Oliver McCall on May the 6th. So stay tuned for the update.